The lesson started out as a card sort. However, as I went through the lesson, I realized I had used many strategies. First, they started with answering their focus question. So that was a think and an ink, and they shared their ideas with their elbow partner. So it was a think, ink, pair share. And then we shared out whole class. They shared their ideas, and I used the popsicle sticks to randomly select 5 people to share their answers. So we used the Give Me 5, followed by the card sort activity. And the focus question that we were discussing was, what is the difference between learned and inherited behaviors? So as they went through their card sort and classified the individual cards into the categories of learned versus inherited behaviors, then they finished that by drawing a line of learning in their science notebook and provided the rule, the one-sentence rule that they used to classify the different behaviors into the learned versus inherited categories. And finally, I used an MIP, most important point, as an exit slip. And I wanted them to tell me the most important point, what they took away from the lesson as they left the class that day. This lesson is it's for 6th grade science. And they were introduced in 4th grade to behaviors of animals that are learned over time. And they have somewhat of a concept of learned versus inherited, but they cannot explain it to me. They cannot put it into words. And what I found most interesting is I carefully selected the behaviors on those cards as to learned versus inherited. And I created doubt or confusion by some of the activities. For instance, birds building a nest versus birds building a nest in a safe place. Birds avoiding monarch butterflies. You know, we had talked about mimicry. So I thought the card sort was wonderful because a lot of the behaviors they kind of knew, but they just had a hard time when they had to commit to placing them into one of the 2 categories. They really started questioning, and until they did that, then they were able to say and have that aha moment. Okay, you're either born with this or you have to learn this. Someone has to show it to you. You have to be taught. So the card sort was definitely a wonderful strategy that made them commit to that. The line of learning, they could then summarize how they classified their cards. I asked them to give me a one sentence. So it's like, okay, draw a line of learning and give me your one sentence rule for how you classified these activities, these behaviors. And I wanted to know when the students left my class that day what they were taking away. Did everyone indeed have that aha moment? I wanted to read the most important point that I learned. You know, inherited behaviors were the ones that you were born with. I wanted to see them put in writing, you know, oh, you have to learn, you have to have those experiences for it to be a learned behavior. All right, you have had time to put your thoughts on your paper in writing. So now what I need you to do is turn to your elbow partner as close as you can and share your thoughts. Share your thoughts. Make a response to your partner number 1. Will share their response with you. You need to make a response back to them, and they need to record it. Oh. And then partner number 2 shares their response, and you will make a response to them, and they will record it. Okay? your response should be something like, oh, that's interesting. I thought, da-da-da-da-da. Yes, I agree with you because, da-da-da-da-da. Are you with me? Questions?
This is what I put. The difference between learning and inherited behaviors are that learned behaviors are when you have to practice and watch to learn, like a baby bird has to fly.
Well,
Inherited behaviors are when you already know how to fly, swim, or do anything once you're born, like a fish. It already knows how to swim.
I put it on baby nose. They had to learn that men already know. You guys put that but fishes learn how to do
The difference is that inherited behaviors
You know you have to write my response
and learned behaviors is what you have to
and I
learn
have
to
to
know
write
how
my
to
response.
I mean, I do agree with you because I think that's what it is anyways.
I think yours is good.
okay, so I didn't hear yours. Share with yours.
Baby knows how to walk, and a fish already knows how to swim.
Okay, very good. So what is your response to that?
I say that's true.
That is, okay. So you need to record. How do you know that's true?
Because the fish already knows how to swim.
Okay, I'm just asking. Okay, so Josh, you need to be recording her response to your answer. As always, it's nice to use examples, if you can, in your answers. So, we will give me 5. My favorite strategy, give me 5 to share their answers. And you never know who it is because I'm magic. Jada Logan. All of these answers were very good. But there seems to be just a few ideas that don't exactly match up. Okay? So let's see if we can figure this out together. What is the difference between learned and inherited behaviors? So we need to come up with a definition, if you will, a rule, some way that we can figure it out and know. How do you know if something's learned? How do you know if it's inherited? So what I want you to do is we're going to use card sort for this. Each group has a set of cards. There are 12. They have 12 different things written on them. So what I want you to do is discuss in your groups the items written on these cards. And I want you to come up with 2 piles, 2 stacks, 2 rows, however you want to put them out on your desk. And let's see if we can decide whether some of these things are learned versus inherited. Okay? And then as we do that, we're going to come up with a 1-sentence explanation of what this difference is, okay? An important aspect of the card sort is the teacher questioning. This is not one of those activities where you just let them go. I mean, the teacher has to be there. The teacher has to help guide their thinking with the appropriate questions. The chance for the students to collaborate in small groups versus whole class also made this a very successful lesson.
I don't think it is. I think it's inherited.
I don't know. 'Cause every bird you see has a nest.
And they don't really go to some class that teaches them.
But it'd be like a human doing a house. We don't know how to do it right now.
Yeah, so it could be both because I don't think it is. I think it's learned because well, birds aren't human, so.
That doesn't mean anything though. We aren't fish, but some of us know how to swim. Somebody could be born in water. It happens.
I'm gonna say learn.
Probably. Okay. Learned.
birds feel?
Okay, colt, baby horse wears saddle and bridle to allow a rider.
What?
That's the
Wears, that has to be learned because wears saddle and bridle, I think, to allow a rider.
horse.
Because he has to he has to be learned to know what's going on.
I don't really think that would be either one of them because it's not like the horse does it. The horse just sits there and lets them put the stuff on.
Yeah, but horses in the wild never had a saddle. They don't know what it is. They don't know what it is being on top of it.
It's not really, they don't learn to wear a saddle. It just kind of happens. And they don't inherit it either.
But they gotta learn to calm down.
True.
They ain't gonna be like,
So, what is this going to learn?
Birds avoid viceroy butterflies. Alright, we talked about viceroy butterflies and monarch butterflies because the monarch has an adaptation to make them look like the viceroy butterfly. Because why?
Their wings?
Why would birds avoid? Birds eat these butterflies.
Because they're there's some kind, they taste, I know,
they make them look like the other butterfly. They don't want the other butterfly.
They don't want this butterfly.
Oh, hold on, got it.
Because it's poisonous?
Not necessarily poisonous,
And the
but
other one changed it out.
Bitter, it's bitter.
it's bitter. Okay? So, in other words, does it taste good?
No.
Okay? So, birds are avoiding this butterfly because it doesn't taste good.
So that's inherited.
Learn that though.
Because they
just know.
I think that's inherited because they have to taste it first before they.
Yeah, that's how it would be learned. Because then they learn not to eat it.
Oh, well then never mind. Yeah, I didn't learn.
Touch hot pan equals, touch hot object equals pain. That's inherited. You inherit the feeling. It's not like, oh, I'm not. It's not the same thing as the bird thing.
Like
It's
if I
like,
touch
oh,
that
boy.
pot, ooh, it's gonna be cold after you see that.
When you touch a hot object, it's gonna be hot. You're gonna have
You gotta
pain.
learn though. Like the stove being red, you gotta learn.
It's not avoiding it. It's just if you touch it, then it's gonna be hot. It's gonna burn.
Yeah, you think that.
Oh, and then that's inherited.
Yeah, it's not the same thing as
Fish swims to top of bowl when you approach.
I don't know. Say it again. Fish.
I swim down if I was a fish. I'd be scared. I think it's
I'm not sure. Fish swim to the top of the bowl when you approach.
Not most of the time. I guess it would be learned. Because, if you go to a fish bowl and you're sitting there standing, it usually swims away. It wouldn't swim to the top.
Yeah, sometimes it don't even look at
Oh
you.
yeah, it doesn't even notice.
So that's probably learned. I would put that as learned.
So the card sort helped them in learning the content because they did make mistakes in the placement of the card. One of their favorites that I discussed with many groups, touching a hot object. Again, they struggled with that within the groups. I had some disagreement, and they thought that you just knew not to touch hot things, that it would burn you. And they called that inherited. And so as I asked them questions and they could see the connections of it was because of experiences that they learned those things over time, they were able to move their cards from one category to another. I want you to write in your notebook, okay? Draw a line of learning under where you answered your focus question, okay? So we're going to draw a line of learning, And you are going to commit to me right there. What makes the distinction? Look at these cards from your card sort. What makes them one or the other? What is the rule? What is it that makes it either inherited or learned? As we go back through, I want to hear from a couple of you, please.
When you're born, when you are born, you know.
It's okay.
Born, you know stuff. It is inherited.
Okay.
Learned, it's learned.
It's learned. Okay. So if you're born with it, it is inherited. If it's learned, it's just learned. Thank you so much for your explanation.
When you are born and can do something, it's inherited. When you see someone doing it, you do it, then it's learned.
Okay? So, if you're born with it, it is inherited. If you see somebody else do it, then it is learned. Thank you so very much. And we have one more that'll be Give Me Five.
When you learn, when you are born, you can either learn or you can inherit something. When you inherit something, it is like, if you want to go to a safe place or find something to eat, like if you're hungry or not. When you learn, it's like learn how to survive, like fly or do certain stuff.
I want you to write down, put MIP at the top of your page. MIP. Most important point. Okay? I'm going to write on the 7th grade side of the board. Nobody get upset at me. MIP. Most important point. I want to know for each one of you, what is the most important point that you learned today about inherited versus learned behaviors? I was surprised in the fact that they were not certain that they had learned not to touch hot objects. I thought that was, I didn't see that one coming, that they thought that one was inherited. Also, in our discussions, I uncovered that most of the students think that birds building a nest simply to have a place to put their eggs. So that was another interesting thing. And the fish, the food on the fish bowl, that was another one. I said fish coming to the top of the fish bowl. When you approach, when someone approaches a fish bowl, you know, the fish swims to the top. And it took a very lengthy line of questioning for them to understand that, first of all, the fish in a fish bowl was not the fish in the ecosystem of the marine biology, and that was a conditioned reaction, because normally when people approach the fish bowl, they're going over there to feed them, and where does the food go? It's at the top. And so that one took a little while. I thought that they had that concept, but that was another interesting thing that took a little while for them to commit that, oh, that is a learned behavior.